everyone. I'm Chelsea. I'm the technical illustrator here at Seamwork. And I thought it'd be fun today to talk about presser feet, specifically feet that you normally might not think to use. They can be real game changers and yeah, just really make things a lot easier. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about the first foot that I have here. This is the pin tuck foot for making pin tucks. It's a really fun little foot. Here, I'll show you an example. I'll put it there. The different grooves, it comes in a variety of different widths. So you can find pin tuck foots that have much wider grooves, or ones like this. This is very small. That makes very small little pin tucks, like right here. And it's really easy. You just follow the grooves, and I'll show you how that's done. It's really fun. So when you want to make pin tucks with your pin tuck foot, make sure you have a twin needle. Let me just real quick put these threads down in there and then we'll get started. Oop. If you're just joining us, I'm going to be showing off some presser feet today, starting with the pin tuck foot. I'm just getting it set up here. Oh, where did that thread go? Oh.
And as an example, we used pin tucks in the Seamwork Callahan that we released last year. Was it October maybe?
Oh, it was September.
September.
Yeah, it came out with our bow shirt pattern. But pin tucks can be put into a variety of things, and it's a cute little detail. Sorry guys, this is taking a bit. I had too much coffee, so I got shaky hands.
Since you're mentioning shaky hands, I apologize if the camera shakes a little. I cannot use a tripod to get close enough to the machine. So I am holding the camera.
Okay, we're all threaded up and ready to go to show off the pin tuck foot. If you're doing a pattern that requires pin tucks, you'll probably have lines on here. I drew a couple just, you know, for a nice visual. So for where your pin tuck line is, you'll want to set it in the middle there. There's a little line in the middle there I hope you can see. That shows you kind of like your guide where to follow that line. So here we go. We're going to start doing it now. Let's make a pin tuck, guys. So easy. All you have to do is sew, and then you'll have a cute little pin tuck. Yeah, and just follow the line. Just keep going. Oh, jeez. And ta-da! We got a little pin tuck. Like I said earlier, pin tuck feet come in a variety of widths, so you can always get ones that are bigger, or you could use a bigger twin needle foot that has more width to it, so you can make bigger ones. But the nice thing with the pin tuck foot is you can easily line up next to it using the grooves, so then that way all your pin tucks are going to be nice and evenly spaced apart. So we can just follow one groove over and make an additional little pin tuck. It's a great way to make sure you're consistent and everything looks nice and neat. Like that. So now we got 2 rows. Of course, you can always customize it. You can make them closer together, farther apart. Lots of possibilities with this one, and it's really fun to use.
I love that one.
Yeah.
And as Chelsea mentioned, we have the twin needle on there.
Yes, you'll need your twin needle for this technique. But other than that, just need your twin needle in your foot and you're ready to go make pin tucks. It's a really fun one.
There we go. That was the pin tuck foot, everyone.
All right, we're gonna swing over to our other sewing machine and I'll show you some more feet. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're fine.
Okay, so what do we have set up over here?
Okay. Oh, sorry. So our next foot, this is a pretty cool foot. It does 2 things in one. It's an edge stitch foot, but it also can stitch in the ditch. I'm not sure if all edge stitch feet have the same ability to do both, but this one for our Bernina, it does, and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Whoop. What did I do here? There we go. All right, we'll click the puppy back in and get started. Oop.
I'm going to zoom in on your material here.
Oh, sure. Why is this?
Here, I'll take that out.
Oh, thank you.
So she has a serged seam here. It's hard to see. There's the, whoopsie.
Here, I can hold it.
There's the seam right there.
Yeah. So, first off, I will be showing how to do the stitch in the ditch with this foot. So you'll see it has kind of like this little middle bit here. Yeah, there we are. That can go right into your seam. So let's say we want to stitch in the ditch in this seam. All you have to do is just line up that middle part with your seam. And and most importantly, you want to make sure that your needle is in the center. I'll show you what happens if you move it to the side. But first, let's go ahead and we'll stitch in the ditch. Just sew and make sure that middle part stays right inside of your seam. This makes stitching in the ditch so easy. Yeah, look at that. Right in that ditch. Isn't that beautiful?
Let me get close to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, here's the seam, and there's that stitch in the ditch. And we
Yeah.
do that a lot on our patterns.
Yes, it's so good for putting down your facings or, you know, putting in your elastic in the side seam so it doesn't move around. Stitch in the ditch is kind of magical if you think about it. It does. It's a simple thing that can make things so much nicer and just nicer to wear. Because no one likes a facing popping up, you know, when you're wearing it. All right, so now I'll show you what happens if you move your needle to the side. This is when it becomes an edge stitch foot. So we're just gonna move our needle to the side here. So now it's no longer aligning with that middle part there. And I turned around this piece so then that way what we're going to do is we're gonna edge stitch so that seam allowance stays put underneath. So it's a similar thing where you line up that middle bit in your seam, but since the needle's moved over, we won't be in the ditch. We'll actually be more over here. And if you can see the seam allowance underneath, we'll be tacking that down. In retrospect, I probably should have moved that over a little bit more, but you get the idea. Now we're more on top of the seam allowance to keep that down. And this will be a good fun foot to use if you want to do some fun top stitching and whatnot.
Oh, Chelsea is saying, hey, Chelsea.
Oh, hi, Chelsea. Thanks for joining.
And Wallace chimed in to say what a game changer. And these feet are game changers.
Yes, and it just makes sewing more fun when you have just these additional feet like, oh, I don't got to worry about that. I got a foot for that.
It makes a lot of functions a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
And many feet are really inexpensive on Amazon.
Yeah. You know, I think what a nice thing with using different feet is it just uses a lot more consistency. So if you're doing like pin tucks or edge stitching, you know, you can really keep your consistency between where you're sewing, and that can make a difference sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Sandra from London.
Let's move on to the next foot. We're going to talk about the invisible zipper foot. So, here it is, the invisible zipper foot. Goes hand in hand with a regular zipper foot, but it's a real game changer when you use an invisible one.
See those little grooves right there? That is what makes this foot really special.
Oh, yes.
And I just learned about this one about 4 months ago, which is funny because I've been sewing for 20 plus years.
Yeah, for some people it seems like the most obvious foot to have, and then some people just haven't heard of it yet. So I would say it's probably one of the most important feet to have if you're going to have like one different foot, aside from maybe the regular zipper foot. It's up there basically is what I'm saying. Okay, so I pinned my beautiful hot pink zipper onto the fabric. One note is before you start sewing, make sure you press with your iron the zipper coils over and open that up. That makes it a lot easier. So just press that open, kind of like that. All right, so let's put our foot in. And we will center this so it's back in the middle. Tuck this thread back in there.
And this is arguably the most annoying part about special feet is tucking your thread underneath.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Okay, so to begin using your invisible zipper foot, you'll want to make sure that the coil that you're about to sew down, if you can see right here, is lined up with the correct little groove in there. Sometimes you can kind of use your finger to, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just going to zoom in so you guys
Yeah.
can see because you might not be able to see while she's moving.
Yeah, see? The coils go right into that little groove there. And you can use your finger to kind of manipulate it too if you need it to open up a little bit more.
I'm going to try and go around to the other side of you and see if I can
Yeah.
get a good view while you're sewing. There we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just make sure your coil stays in there and you just start sewing.
And you're kind of holding that open with your finger a little bit.
Yeah, that's something I personally like to do. I don't know if that's what a lot of people do, but that's what I like.
I think the groove mostly holds it open. I have had it get a smidge too close if I don't kind of help us a little bit.
Yeah, and maybe you didn't press it all the way enough or quite as long, so it's just a little extra in case.
Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned that because the first time I did this, I didn't realize how well you had to press it, and you really do want to get a good...
Oh, yeah.
It's going to curl back, but you really want to kind of press it open as much as you can so that it does stay in place as you're guiding it through.
Yeah. All right.
And we have a full tutorial on invisible zippers.
Oh, yes.
as well, right?
All right. So, as you can see, the stitching is like right in there in that little groove between the coils and the tape. So invisible. All right, let's look at the other side and zip it up. All right. Whoop. Well, would you look at that? It's so invisible on this side.
So invisible.
Yeah, such a handy foot if you're going to be doing an invisible zipper. A must, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a game changer.
Yes. All right, and I guess we'll move on to our last foot after I fix the thread here.
And like we mentioned, we have a full tutorial on installing an invisible zipper, showing the other side of it
Yes.
as well.
Okay, now the last foot I want to show today is a rolled hem foot. Perfect for when you want to do just a little baby hem, maybe on like a delicate fabric or something like that. Woo.
It's got a little coil there.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and pop that in. And of course, everyone's favorite part, tucking in that thread through the foot.
So for those of you watching, which feet are your favorite feet to use? And I should mention, this is going to be part 1.
Oh, yes.
We have a few more feet that we want to show you that we're going to show next week.
So many feet. All right, so with our rolled hem foot, you'll want to make sure that your hem is pressed once over. Was it 1/4?
An eighth and then an eighth.
An eighth and then an eighth, equaling a quarter total hem. So yeah, you'll just want that first press.
No, I did 2 presses.
Yep. That was just one.
Oh. I thought I did 2.
Oh.
Well, anyway, press it an eighth and then
Yes.
an eighth over. So
Yes.
it's as if you would do the whole rolled
Yeah.
hem there. Hi from Ireland.
Oh, hello. All right, so when you're ready to start sewing, you can see in here, you want to put the one fold into the coil there, kind of wrapping it around. Whoop. Like so. Whoop.
I,
Or
Put the needle down first. Well, no, in the fabric.
Oh, to keep it steady, yeah.
Yeah. There we go. And then
Then,
that'll hold your fabric
ah.
still, and then you can roll it in
Oop,
and lower the foot.
There we, oh,
You gotta hold it there until you start going.
yeah. All right, there we are. Okay.
See how that rolls in?
Yeah, it's right
In that
inside the
coil?
little coil there. Now we're ready to get hemming. It's good to hold that in there to make sure that it doesn't move around.
And again, this gives you a nice, consistent stitch
Yeah,
and roll.
and it's easy for the fabric to get slippery around this point. So this just kind of helps keep everything in line and together. Whoop. Here we are. Let's show that off. And would
There
you
we
look
go.
at that, a tiny little baby hem.
This is really great for lightweight and sheer fabrics.
Yeah. There you go. So we went over the Pentuck foot, invisible zipper, edge stitch / stitch in the ditch, and then the rolled hem.
And the rolled hem, yeah.
Really fun feet.
Really fun feet. Hi from Calgary. She says that the walking foot is her favorite, and we're gonna,
Oh, yes.
yes, we're gonna show that one off next week.
Yes.
Um,
Another very important foot, especially with knits.
especially with knits. We love our walking foot.
Oh,
And we had a sewer once who liked to keep it on all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Knits, wovens, whatever, she always used the walking foot, and that's perfectly okay, I think.
Oh, yeah. Nothing wrong with just keeping that on until you're ready to switch to another foot. But yeah, walking foot. Also very up there.
Also very up there. Here we go. Hi again, JJ Celery. You have Almada all cut out in chiffon. Oh yeah, you're gonna use the rolled hem for that. That's perfect.
That'd be beautiful.
That'll be really beautiful. That's a great foot for chiffon.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. And with the Almada robe, beautiful.
Oh yeah, don't forget to post it on the community when you're done and
Yeah.
show off that rolled hem. We want to see it. Awesome. Any other questions while we wait and see if anybody has any questions coming through? I'm going to slide around Chelsea here. Next week, we are going to show off the binding foot, the blind hem foot, and a lap seam foot,
Yeah.
and the walking foot.
Lots of fun presser feet coming your way.
Lots of fun presser feet. Okay. Well, if we don't have any other questions coming through, I think I'm just going to do some close-ups
Yeah.
of these feet. So again, this one was the Pentuck foot, and it's got these little grooves there. We should have a Pentuck challenge. What do you think, Chelsea?
Oh, that would be awesome. You can put Pentucks in anything, so I bet people will get really creative with where they want to put them.
Absolutely. This is the
Invisible zipper foot.
invisible zipper foot.
Mm-hmm.
Game changer.
Oh, yeah. This one was the rolled hem. You can recognize it with the little rolled coil
There
there.
we go.
Yeah.
See that little guy?
And then this one is the edge stitch and stitch in the ditch foot. And again, I believe not every edge stitch foot is also a stitch in the ditch foot, but depending on what kind of machine you're using, you might have the ability to do both at the same time, or they might be two different feet.
Yeah. And again, you can buy individual feet on Amazon for one, but at sewing stores as well. I think I bought my invisible zipper foot for, I don't know, $5, $6, something really low. And it was just an off-brand that happened, a universal foot that happened to fit on my brother. These are Bernina feet. So Bernina feet are special because they have that. So these ones probably wouldn't be $5.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
But if you've got a brother or a singer, anything that just clips right in.
Yeah.
These are different. So. All right, excellent, guys.
Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll see you next week.